Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and we are still here at the Galactic Convention, and I have Miss Paula Harris, the lovely Miss Paula Harris, a very well-renowned investigative reporter. And Paula, I noticed that you're just all over the map, just like all the states here in America. Tell me some of the things that you do and what really interests you. Who are the type people that really pique your interest the most?
Well, I'm actually all over the map, including Europe. I was working out of Rome, Italy for 15 years. I just moved back into the United States in 2007. My job is just to collect the information. I mean, I do word-for-word interviews with the most important people in the field that have the evidence. In other words, my books are all interviews. In this
Let
book,
me see that particular book right
this is
there.
all the above exopolitics, and people want the definition of exopolitics, so I'll give it to you. It is the study, and it's a study of the extraterrestrial presence and its sociological and political implications for the planet. So who's in the book? Edgar Mitchell, Apollo 14 astronaut, Colonel Philip Corso, who was the man that wrote The Day After Roswell about back engineering alien technology, Travis Walton, who's probably the most famous contactee case ever. Larry Warren, who was a security guard in England during the Rendlesham-Forest case, when the craft actually landed and beings actually came out. They're word-for-word interviews. And I've got to honestly tell you, Jerry, I have no conclusions, and I don't know what's happening, but my job is just to get the information.
In other words, you don't make the news, you just report it.
I report it, and I don't know what's going on. But if somebody doesn't report it objectively, then we have no archive and we have no history of this. So I'm hoping someday that book, All of the Above, which is dedicated to George Noory, Coast to Coast, will become a textbook for students who study ufology seriously in the university, because it's a real fact. This is probably the only country that isn't treating it as a real fact, because England has released its files, all 17,000 pages. France has done the Cometa report. I spoke in Barcelona, Spain, to 1,400 people, so Spain takes it seriously. The countries of Europe take it seriously. Here, everybody laughs. And I'd like to know what's so funny about a commercial airline pilot that actually has an encounter with a UFO, has all the passengers in the back, and it's a matter of national security. I don't think that's any laughing matter.
Now, what exactly is your mission, in your opinion?
Just to do the news part, the collecting of, find the people, get their testimony, keep myself out of it, and record it, put it in a book, or put it on my website. And my website is in 6 different languages. It's in German, French, Spanish, Italian, and English.
Speaking of websites, great segue. What is your website or websites? What are your
Okay, my
websites?
website is www.paolaharris.com, and there's 6 different flags, so if you speak one of those languages, you get all the latest information, the latest videos, the latest sightings, but most of all, the latest important whistleblower testimony. There are people all over the world coming out with the truth. I mean, the truth is out there if you want to go look for it.
Okay, so what are some of your most interesting cases, some of your most interesting interviews that you have had thus far?
Well, Colonel Philip Corso. I mean,
Hold
he
that right
wrote
there.
that.
Let me see that.
Colonel Philip Corso, The Day After Roswell.
Okay, and what happened in this particular
Okay, Colonel
interview?
Philip Corso worked at the Pentagon in the 60s, and he was given a tree of artifacts which were found at the Roswell crash, and he was told by General Trudeau to go and to the different factories and different companies and back engineer this stuff. And he told me all about it because I was the journalist that worked with him the most and brought him to Europe. Colonel Corso said that he had fiber optics, he had night screening device, he had the transistor in that a Roswell crash tray that was given to him by Trudeau. So it opened up another door. One of the reasons why we may not be able to talk about this, Jerry, is because these people that are flying around all over the planet are not using gas and petroleum. They have some kind of propulsion system that does not use what we use, fossil fuels. So if you back engineer anything, any of the technology, you're going to want to hold on to the toys. And that's one of the problems. I don't think it has anything to do with aliens, what they look like, craft, where they come from. I think that whoever has the technology, and now it's getting so confusing, I don't know what we're looking at. If you go to Area 51, we've photographed, and a lot of people have photographed craft that I don't think are theirs. It gets very confusing. If the technology is involved in the disclosure, then it's not about the aliens, and that's what makes this very, very, very tricky. So my job is just to take everybody's testimony and let the intelligent people that are out there figure it out. My first book was called Connecting the Dots, Making Sense of the UFO Phenomenon. So I really think that anybody who's halfway intelligent will be able to connect the dots.
Where can your books be found?
Okay, on Amazon.com.
And what would they search? What would they put in the search?
It's PAOLA LEOPIZZI Harris. This one here, How Do You Speak to a Ball of Light?
Hold still.
Exopolitics is about orbs. Everybody is wondering about the orb phenomenon. Well, that's a picture of a real orb on the cover.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
and orbs are many things, and they end up being, for some people, dimensional portholes where things come out of them. Or they could be an entity in a room, or they could be any number of energies. So I really believe that people should be studying all of it. They should be studying the craft, the aliens, the back engineering, the history of ufology. But when you have orbs appearing that seem to be halfway intelligent, you should be studying that part of it too. Somebody should take that on.
Now, what did Philip do with these different artifacts that he found?
Well, he had an envelope with huge amounts of money and would go to companies like Bell Labs and ask them to if they were working along the same field, if they were trying to do night screening devices or whatever. He said, here's the project. The Army will give you the money to back engineer it, to copy it the best way you can. And if you do some heavy research into these, what we call black projects, or projects that are not registered, and he took cash to do this, you'll see that they were Army contracts. And of course, Philip Corso was Army, so he was doing it in the 60s, but who knows what the Air Force did, because when Roswell happened in 1947, they broke off in 48 into the Army Air Force. So I'm sure the Air Force has a few little toys too. And so a lot of what we may have discovered may have come from alien technology. I just keep that out there for people to think about, because I think that is the main reason for the secrecy.
Now, I'm just hoping and praying that I would have the honor and the opportunity to be able to have you on my show, because the Jerry Butler Show is it's a no-nonsense type show. We don't throw people under the bus. We allow you to create your own agenda and that sort of thing, so that you're not blindsided or sideswiped with a bunch of crackpots or people that, it's always going to be someone who is always wondering, is this true? And then once they see a craft themselves, then they want everybody to believe what they've seen. But I would love to have you on the show, and also if there are any other people that you happen to run across that you feel may be a great interview for me, I would appreciate if you would continue to pass my name and my number along to them as well. Can I count on you to come on the show, or possibly at least seriously consider this?
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to. I'd love to.
I'd like to thank you so much. And again, as I said before the interview, this would not be some funny bunny crackpot type interview. Quite serious. My job, my mission rather, is just to get the word out, to let others know what a phenomenal job that you are indeed doing. And I want to thank you oh so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.